Questions, questions, questions. Every day, everybody has to deal with questions and with answers as well. Questions like, can you bring milk home tonight? Questions like, would you like pepper with your meal, sir? Questions like, when will New South Wales finally win a State of Origin match? As your financial advisor, I've got to deal with questions too. And many of the questions and subsequently the answers to those questions are often a whole lot more challenging than those ones. There are still some simple questions people always ask of us. Questions like, where do I get the best return? Will I get a tax deduction for that? Where are the best earnings that I can get? Where's the best returns I can get? How can I get the best tax deduction? And which insurance policy is the cheapest? Those questions are the easy questions that we have to deal with. From a young, newly employed fellow, he'll ask me questions like, when can I start to save for my first home? What happens if I don't start that saving today? How will that affect me? Question from a newly married couple. We have our first home right now. Budget's tight. Can you help us manage our budget so we save more money each week? Now that's a really interesting question because it takes them to their next level. That next level may be the same married couple 3 years later where they're just about to have their first baby. They've come to me and asked, how can we manage our budget now that Sandra won't be working? How can we pay all of our bills without Sandra's income working? Ian, help us manage our personal budget. Same family 3 years down the track. They have the children, they have the home, they have their mortgage. The children and the family are pretty much under control and comfortable. They then come to me again and ask more questions. Those questions are, we've got a surplus now. Each week we're saving $10 a week. Is that enough for us to start to save for our first investment property that will fill our future portfolio? Their questions will be, is our surplus big enough? How can we use tax to our advantage? Which bank should we go to borrow the money from? Again, all of these are questions which I have to provide answers for. The pre-retiree market is a market that's burgeoning. The baby boomers are filling all the statistics. Everybody's heard of that. 48-year-old couple have their family under control. They've come to us with more questions around. We've heard that a self-managed superannuation fund is a good thing and that can invest into real estate directly. How do we do that? Can we do that? Is it allowable? What does it cost? Again, all of these are questions. As their advisor, I have to be able to understand what the questions are, understand the implications, and give them qualified answers. A business executive, 54 years old, he comes to me with everything under control, except he has some more questions. His questions are, I've got a really big nest egg in my superannuation. I've got 2 or 3 investment properties. Do I have enough today to retire? How do I build my nest egg larger so that I can retire? Please help me understand my next steps. Everybody wants to know what the next steps are. Considered all of that, our next step is to document that. To document our advice, we go through again a number of aspects. The SOAs that I produce for our clients will provide a number of things. They'll provide a summary of each individual and their personal circumstances of the time. It will then provide a summary of the advice, which will take no more than 3 pages. Following those 3 pages, we'll have lots and lots of information, which is the detail of the advice. That detail of the advice will include the other considerations that we have discussed or considered, and have discovered that are not as superior as a result as their recommendation that we've made. Finally, what we'll provide is a full, accurate list of what all the costs are. Winding up, our client should know all of the questions and be able to answer for themselves in an unqualified, educated background of all of their answers. All of those answers would include what the advice is, what are the advantages of the advice, what is the disadvantages of the advice, what is the cost to the advice, and what we propose as an ongoing review of the advice.